Good evening and welcome along to another episode of our Dundee United live stream series. I hope you're all well. Thank you for those of you who are waiting already. Lovely to see a few of you in. Jacob, good evening. John, good evening. I am well. I hope you are too. At least you don't have plus now talk. I mean, it's the best of a bad bunch basically, isn't it? We're quicker when we're working, but we're not working as often. But thank you for those of you who are waiting. We're here for 5 more games to end the January transfer window. And it looks like, touch wood, we're coming back to form. You can see at the top right the 2 games we've played off camera. The first of which was a massive shock for us. A 3-1 win against Celtic where we absolutely blitzed them. A comfortable win in the cup against lower league opposition. And with the few signings that are dotted around in January, we're starting to look great. So hopefully we can build on that today. What's now 5 straight wins in all competitions. Andrew, good evening. Welcome along, son. I hope you're all right. Thank you to everyone that's popped in. Lovely to have you here so early. I hope you're looking forward to a big night of action. There's obviously Champions League, there's EFL, there's non-league, there's loads going on. So let me know who you're watching, what you're looking out for. We've had a massive week. Obviously all the manager specials in the EFL have made our podcast channel basically an hour news service at the moment. We've had episodes out every few minutes, every few hours. It's been ridiculous, but it's growing really quickly. We're into the 900s now. So thank you for your support over there. Thank you for your support over here too. And we're absolutely brilliant. I played FM 2007. I loved that game. I absolutely loved that edition of the game. 06 and 07 were the ones that... I mean, I loved 05, but 06 and 7 really hooked me. We were school kids then. We used to just do sleepovers and all-nighters. One on the computer, one on the laptop playing it. It was brilliant. But let's have a look at what's going on today before we start, because the long and short of it is not a huge amount. Chris Mockery, as you would expect, is unhappy because we rejected the Arsenal bid in the end. We had nobody else coming in. We had one going out, which was mentioned in the last episode. St Johnstone just sort of bought out Finn Robson. So they paid the compensation, 375 grand. He's got a bit of potential. He's not going to be that good. So a wonderful deal for us. It's rising to $1 million if he makes the first team. So we've basically got the same money for him that we paid them for Ali McCann. I know which one I'd rather have. There was a bit of disappointment though. We agreed a deal to send Benji Siegrist to Birmingham, £3 million, nearly all of that up front as well. And then 2 days ago, this happened. The deal fell through because Birmingham no longer making transfers due to being in an embargo, due to a potential takeover. So just the news we wanted. But otherwise, it's all been going well. We can't really complain in the grand scheme of things. So hopefully, with 5 straight victories and 2 brilliant ones last time out, we'll be able to really become top dogs here and get towards that 3rd place, which is exactly what we were expected to do. So hopefully you're looking forward to that. Fingers crossed we'll be able to get some of the action in early. And it's all into the first game. We've got Inverness in the next round of the Cup, which is a potentially winnable match as well. But the 2 games off camera, star of the show was against Celtic. A 3-1 win, 2 goals in the 7th minute. They scored from the kickoff after our opener from the penalty spot. And I thought it might be a long day then. But no, Shanklin got a second, Mengi got another. We were comfortable throughout. I don't know what happened to Celtic. They're clear at the top despite losing the title the last 2 years. So it's a bit of a weird one. Then we rotated heavily for Queen of the South. McNulty back into the side, he got 1. And Finn Malcolm with a brace. Really good from the lads. And basically 2 different teams winning games. We cannot complain about that whatsoever. King Kieran, welcome along. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming and joining in. Jacob, you love to see it. Seagrist still contracted. Don't you start. I've had enough frustration. What's worse about it, actually, the Celtic game and the last game, in fact, he played both of them because Baxter was out with a virus. So Seagrist has played the last 2. He won't be playing today, but he has ended his unhappiness. It's now just about cashing in 3 or 4 million quid for an average 30-year-old. We've got to do it, and hopefully someone else will come in for him, because that's what we need now. Or Birmingham get the takeover and get it done. One of those 2 things. So they're the sort of things we're looking out for today, but there's 5 big games to come. We promised a bumper special after the shortened episode on Sunday, and that's exactly what we'll deliver. We should be done by 7 o'clock, but we've got till 7:45. That's when the Luton game kicks off. They're recommending me to bring Siegrist back in, and Matheson and Mockery. They're all stronger options. But Mallon and McCann, they've played together for the first time against Celtic. They were delightful. We're still bringing Dembele gradually back to fitness. If Mockery wasn't unhappy and throwing his toys out the pram, we might have started him. Dehaney, not as good as Matheson, has been brilliant. We have to keep him in there. So at the moment, we're fairly happy with a settled side. It's just Baxter back in goal, and the rest is as you would expect. Dehaney and Mitchell, the fullbacks, with Kurt and Mengi in the middle. Byrne and Duffy, the wingers, with McCann and Mallon up front, in the middle, Centre midfield, not up front. And McNulty back in alongside Shanklin up front. Watson drops out after a few games out. King Kieran, feel privileged for a name to come out of your mouth? Absolutely not. I'm happy to give anyone a shout out who's in the comments. As long as you're being polite and you're getting on with it, it's all good. So yeah, we're all normal. Not to worry. We're all the same. Charlie, is Michael Newbury on FM21? He is. I've checked him in the January update because obviously he's at Linfield there and he's not too bad. He's not on this one because he's playing in Iceland. So I think he's in my head coach save, but he's not in the other two because he's playing obviously in Iceland when the season started. But Michael Newbury, a fantastic sport. Former hot prospect at Newcastle, now playing at Linfield. He went via Iceland as well, bizarrely. Did an interview with us on the podcast channel. Absolutely brilliant for him. Charlie Betts, Celtic losing to Ross County. What's gone wrong for them? It's a mix of confidence. It's a mix of off-the-pitch problems. We mention it in all of our manager specials on the podcast. If there's problems off the pitch, on it, things don't go right. And they started the season really well until that, was it the third or fourth game where they had that COVID breach and all the players that were caught out, and they were first teamers as well, unlike the Rangers one. And that's where it all started to unravel. And since then, they've never quite been the same. They weren't great in Europe, but let's be honest, bar 3 or 4 star players, they've got an ageing squad. People like McGregor, people like particularly Scott Brown that they've relied on for years, they're not the same as they once were. They're getting older. And you're always going to get to that sort of crossroads. Don't get me wrong, they should be doing far better than they are. But it's just one thing after another and it spiralled a little bit. But here, they look like they're going to regain their crown after 2 bad years. So let's go and get into the game. We've gone through the lineup. We know we're as strong as we can be. And now, after 5 back-to-back victories, what we normally do is ruin it in a game like this. Away to Ayr United, we'll see how it goes. Thank you to everyone popping in as well. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. It does make such a difference. Thank you for your support on this Tuesday evening as well. Let me know who your team's playing this evening, whether you're looking forward to it and what the result's going to be. And hopefully, depending on where you are, it's not been weathered off. Let's put it that way. Jacob in the banger save. You know the SPFL Trust Trophy isn't great when Celtic reserves are in the final. It's actually surprised me a bit, to be honest. Because when we did it in FM20 with Cliftonville, it was always like a top championship side. Like a Hamilton, I think Kilmarnock dropped down. I think Morton played in one. There were a few really big teams in them. But just not happened this year. One of those really weird things. So I don't know what the difference is. Maybe the reserve sides... I mean, I did notice the previous year, not so much in the Celtic side reaching it, but in the previous seasons, there were some good players. Like, don't forget that time we played Rangers. And they had Joel Linton in there. They had Richie Hosler, the one that we played in the Dundee head coach series. So they had good players in there. Maybe they're just going stronger. Fidel Palacio, hello. Thank you for popping in. Lovely to see a new face among all the regulars. Thank you for coming and joining us this Tuesday afternoon. Charlie, Shanklin going well for Dundee United in real life. Outside shout to go to the Euros with Scotland. I'm not sure it's much of an outside shout. I think he's one of their best 3 or 4 strikers. I guess it just depends before the end of the season. We've said the same with England, haven't we? 4 or 5 of the players that will be in your 23-man squad will be out by the time the Euros comes round. Whether it's injury, whether it's out of form, whatever. It does happen. Terry Hooper, another new face. Thank you for popping in. I'm glad you're enjoying it and thank you for coming and joining us this evening. King Kieran, same words. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the love this evening. Dylan, good evening. Another one of the regulars. Thank you for popping in. I'm doing well and I hope you are too. I guess my mood later will depend on the Luton score, but I'm never one that gets too downhearted about it. We normally have a bore draw at home to Millwall, so I'll take that today. A point would be good for us. I think we're on Sky as well, but season ticket holders get it on the streaming service. As Duffy finds McNulty, can we get the lead here? It's been half an hour on the clock. McNulty gets in straight at the keeper. Bit of a shame that one's wasted. It's been a decent start otherwise. Charlie, Jesse Lingard to the Euros. Yeah, he's a good player. Don't forget, He was one of the stars in that World Cup. He was playing up there with the likes of Sterling, with Rashford, with Kane, and Jesse Lingard was one of the ones that stood out. So don't rule him out the way he's playing, as we've fallen behind to air. I told you this would happen, didn't I? 5 successive victories. We saw how well we finished the last stream. We saw the games against Celtic and Queen of the South after. And then this follows it. We're just inconsistent, and that's the thing that costs us. As it stands, Ayr, since they've come up, despite not having superstars, have done really well. And they're tearing us a new one here, to be honest. They're making us look really bad. Thank you to everyone coming in, though. If you haven't yet, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Just a few away from double figures now. We're getting there quite quickly. So thank you all for coming in this evening. Hopefully we'll have no more internet problems. I was sweating because it was off from 5 to 5:20. But it looks like we're back and all right. I'm going to get really angry about it, point a finger, show some desire, and get on the front foot. But they just seem to be playing above their station all the time, Ayr United. They've done so well since they've come up. Of course, Darren Watson helped them last year, but they were brilliant this season. As McNulty loses out in the air. We haven't really looked like fighting. We've looked a bit arrogant. We've looked poor. But it doesn't excuse their performance. They've been really good. As Roscoe gets to it first. Again, Shanklin doesn't come in and challenge for the header, but they get there. Although it may work out here as Byrne gets in behind. He's got 2 running off him. He goes alone though. Byrne's in 1-on-1. You've got 2 strikers with you with an open goal who are good finishers. And you've tried to do it yourself. Oh, it's frustrating. It really is. And I can tell it seems to work every time, doesn't it? On Sundays we have a generally positive stream. And then on Tuesdays we're in poor form. Just how it works out. 1 in and 1 out. And then we drop back to 6th as it stands. It's so tight between Ayr in 8th and 3rd place Motherwell. But we've got to make changes. McNulty's been out the side recently, so we'll bring Watson on for him. Byrne will swap with Dembele. And McCann's had a shocker. The former St Johnstone man. So we're going to swap Mallon box to box. We'll bring Mockery back in, who's done quite well. Doesn't look good though, does it? We're going to go attacking. We've got no real choice with half an hour left. And Baxter's got a goal kick. Or a free kick just inside his own box. Up to Duffy. Watson gets there. Tries to put it through. It's intercepted. Duffy finds Shanklin though. Needs to be a goal. Is a goal. This is the chance. 25 to go. We can still salvage it. Dylan, did you hear Reece James, Hudson-Odoi and Greenwood are allowed to play at the under-23 Euros next year? Oh, there's no surprises there. Surely the likes of Foden and... Well, there's going to be plenty of others that can do that as well, aren't there? Foden's only 21 now. It'd be a good experience. For Southgate, we've got so many good under-23s. If he could get most of them together into the side for the under-23s Euros, they can do well there, get the success, and then play in the World Cup the year after together. It's how a lot of teams build their success. It happened with Spain. It happened with Germany. It'd be great to see us do the same in truth. We're into 4 minutes of stoppage time, and I think we're going to lose it. It's so frustrating, this Dundee United side. 5 wins, then we'll get 2 or 3 defeats probably today. And it's just 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, and we never really progress. So another disappointing one. Thank you for the extra thumbs up. Greeny, typical finger pointer. I do like a finger wag, I've got to be honest. Ravenite coming in a bit late, going to ask how it's going, but can see it's not great. It's deceptive, honestly. 5 wins in a row before this, and then the wheels come off the wagon in one of these fixtures. It always happens. We've got Dunfermline at home next, who are miles behind. We've got to beat them, but you're never sure after a bit of form like this. Next month, sorry, not next year. Oh, that will never happen, will it, Premier League wise? Or is it the qualifiers? Because if it's the qualifiers, that makes perfect sense. If it's in the international break, play them together, and then they're ready for the summer, even better. And it's almost like a dress rehearsal, isn't it? Because England will have a couple of friendlies. Whether they're on or off will depend on the world situation, but looking better. Jake, good evening. Thank you for popping in. Thank you for the thumbs up. I hope you're all well. We're up to the top 10. 10 thumbs up and 10 viewers already. That's absolutely brilliant. Thank you for your support. Bring back Mickey Mellon. Oh, dear. He can have the job back. I'll build again in non-league because this side infuriates me. How can you go from comfortably beating Celtic, comfortably beating Queen of the South, with a completely different side so everyone's rested, I mean, 5 victories in a row and then that performance. It wasn't just the result. I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's not like it's just home or away as well. We were away at Aberdeen, we played well. Away at St Johnstone, we got the goals. Oh, I'm gonna have a frustrating one this evening. I can tell it already. The full tournament, Southgate is allowing them to play for the under-23s Euros. But the tournament, is it in March? Euro under-23s. I've got to look it up. Let's have a look. 2021. It's in Hungary and Slovenia, but when is it? Oh, let's find the stats. Oh, that's not very helpful. You know when Wikipedia hasn't got the answer, you're going to be in a spot of bother. Well, if so, I guess it makes sense. My only thought is if it's in the club season, surely they're not going to be able to go. Tom, are you even going to get a bit tipsy on 22nd for the England game? No, of course I'm not. I'll be on the Coke Zero all day. King Kieran, what team do you actually support? Luton. I'm from Luton, so I support the hometown club. A season ticket holder who frustratingly can't go at the moment. L Gaming, good evening, welcome along. Lovely to have another regular in. I have loved the blend of newbies and regulars today, so thank you all for your support. If you're a new one and you've said hello, come and get involved in the chat. Let us know who you're supporting. Let us know who you're watching this evening and whether you think your team's going to win. Tom, the only time there's a risk of that happening is if we get a day of Test cricket this summer, which I'm hoping it looks like we might. But fingers crossed, eh? Let's get quickly into the second game because we need to erase that feeling of the Ayr United game. Tom, boring. Greeny Tom, sort him out. Hey, I'll eat plenty. I'll eat as much as you two drink. There you go. Wrexham play Hartlepool, and it's the only fan base that's been discussing in my comments. They don't seem the nicest bunch. That seems weird to us, because, I mean, I can only speak from a Sunderland, Darlington, and Newcastle perspective, is the North East has been our favourite place to go and watch football. Most of the people are lovely, but you never know. Oh, I tell you what. I didn't want to sell Mockery, but this is a massive offer. It's £12 million. I mean, we could rebuild a whole side for that. We've got European football next month. We could get 4 or 5 really good footballers in. I don't know. Do you know what? I'm going to reject it only because I think if we do, they'll still come in with one more bigger offer. And if they do and we can get 15 million or so, it'd be absolutely brilliant. Greeny, can I come? Absolutely. The more the merrier at the cricket. Tom, sort the tickets out when they're on sale. What about those mango cider you had? Oh, lovely. Peacock's Mango Online. It's the only alcoholic drink I really actually enjoy drinking that tastes nice. Oh, we're starting to get big offers for players here. This is turning into a weird January. Dylan, I'm outside the local chippy. What do you want me to get? For me, I'm not a big fish fan, so I always say, first choice if they've got it, and Charlie will back me up on this, chicken balti pie. That's your first. And hopefully you're in the north, they should have them. If you don't get that, because the difference is in the north, you have everything with gravy, and we have it with like curry sauce or chilli or whatever. If not, it's got to be sausage and batter and chips. Unless you've got one of those fancy ones like ours that do like fancy kebabs and that, then you can choose there. But the traditional fish and chip shop food, it's got to be sausage and batter and chips. Curry sauce, lovely. Greeny, produced in Ireland. No, I think this one's produced in India, actually. I better stop talking about alcohol before I get demonetised as well, hadn't I? Also, does FM Online work for everyone else? Because it never works for me. So there was the January transfer update last night, L Gaming. And it's worked today. I've checked it because me and Craig are going to set up our series. So it's definitely worked. But the update last night, I think, fixed it. So you should have no problem if you try again today. 2.5 million. We're going to just try and double this fee, basically. If we can get £3.5 million and 3 of it guaranteed for Jack Byrne, I think we have to say, having signed him on a free about a year before, that's about the best deal we could ever do. Should we be really greedy and try and get on a sell-on clause? But at 26, I don't think we're going to get much out of that. Right, they've negotiated it, but it's 2.5 million. I don't think we can turn that down. It's a massive amount of money for a 26-year-old. It's not like Mokri, who's the homegrown youngster who's going to be a superstar. It's a player we got on a free agent who's not set the world alight, who's on his bike again a year later. We do need to start thinking about the summer. I have been getting some scout reports for young players like these ones. We've just set assignments really for players that are out of contract this year, or for players that are playing under 23 in England, in Scotland, or in Northern Ireland. And that one looks a good one. I'm sure we've had him before, Gray. I'm not sure which club at. Might have been Torquay maybe, in FM19. But he's a good player, so we'll keep an eye on him. Jack Evans is too much money, but we have had him in the head coach. We know he's good at Hibs. Just get through some of the others that aren't quite so good. Brandon Mason. We had him at Bangor and he was awful. He's a lot better in this save. Most of the others, though, not really developed to a good enough standard. So, I think of the ones recommended, they might be the only ones we get. So, let's quickly go to the director of football. We'll see what he suggests for a winger. Can be a right-sider or a left-sider, because Duffy and Dembele can play either. So, there's no free transfers. You'd probably expect that at this point. There's no one on the loan list. Right midfielders transfer listed. We'll look at those in a minute. And then we'll do the same on the left. No free agents. No loan deals. And a few transfer listed. So we'll go and have a look at those. Also, what cricket game are you guys going to? I'll be going to a game this year if everything goes well. We're not sure yet. We normally, me and Tom most summers, we try to get to a day of England's home test cricket. We normally go to a northern one because he's based in Leeds and his other half's family are based in Manchester, so it's the easier ones to do. But we also want to get to new grounds at some point, and none of us have done Trent Bridge or the Oval, or Edgbaston for that matter. So for me, I mean, I'd like to go and watch the 100 game Trent Rockets because Rashid Khan's there and he's brilliant, but I'm sure Tom might want to venture from Leeds just for that hour and a half or so. And it depends what the ticket prices are as well, because it's a shorter format, isn't it? So Chris Cadden, I don't think we can afford him, to be brutally honest, at Columbus. A good player. Formerly of Motherwell, of course. Brooks Lennon is over there. He's on too much money. We can't afford him. Penny is a good winger, but again on too much money. We'll scout him again, though, just in case. Matt Ritchie, we can't afford. Dom Thomas, maybe. We'll go and scout him. He's at Dunfermline, but again, big transfer fee in Scotland, which seems to be the common theme. So I'm not quite sure what we're going to do about that. But I guess we've got more pressing problems, given the fact that we're in trouble. I guess we're expecting a bigger offer for Mokri as well. I think we're going to get priced out of keeping him in the end. And I guess thinking long term, if we give him to Arsenal, get sacked from Dundee United and work our way up in England, it could work out. We don't really want to sell him. I'd rather sell this guy, Matt O'Reilly. Coming back from injury, he's worth 4 or 5 million quid. He's now 22 and Danish. Where did that come from? He's eligible for Denmark and Norway, despite being born in London. I mean, we've got to find out his story. Is that MK Dons in real life? That's incredible. Right, let's put all of that transfer nonsense aside. It's time to recover. We have got a big Scottish Premiership game. Mengi's tired, Mallon's tired, Duffy's tired. They can all have a rest in midweek against Livingston. They need to play today. Mallon for Mokri's not a big disaster because they're similar quality. Same for Duffy and Dembele. And Burns' last game probably, so we're not going to worry about him. I can bring Finley in alongside Kerr. Because although we want to play the first teamers, we don't want to overdo it. And McNulty's out for Watson. That's purely a form-based decision. Aside from that, we're going to stick with the same 11. We need a big recovery. We need a better performance. And we need it quick. Let's go and get into it. It's a big game between Dundee United and Dunfermline. They're one of those sides we should be beating comfortably. So let's go and hope we can do it. Let me catch up with the chat quickly. Thank you everyone coming in. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. It does make a difference. Chris Cadden at Hibs now in reality, isn't he? Is he? I mean, I don't really get to keep up with the SPL because it's all on Sky now. He is at Hibs. You're absolutely spot on. Went in January. So I only really get to watch the Scottish Championship. I'm out of touch with the top tier. Ravenite doesn't look like you can afford any of them. Absolutely right. I'd go down to Notts for a game. Need to get out the house. Yeah, we're all going to need to this summer, aren't we? If we're doing one that we've got to travel to, I'd rather do a day of Test cricket where you get hours of action. And that walk to all of the grounds in Nottingham's lovely, isn't it? Apologies for the squeaky chair. It's really going this evening. Let's get into it. We've got to beat Dunfermline. We're in big trouble again. It almost becomes crisis mode if we don't win that one. Dylan, order chicken balti pie, chips and gravy. See, you Northerners, you can't resist it, can you, the gravy? You can't have chicken balti pie and gravy, mate, honestly. I know it's the North-South thing, but I guess as long as you're only dipping your chips in it, you're all right. Jenkinson playing for Finland. Yeah, it's another one, isn't it? I think the ticket I've got for is England-India test because it was Pakistan, but everything that happened last year on the ground or something, give everyone tickets for the next year. Oh, that's not bad. I mean, we normally wait till late when they go on general sale and then just go for whichever one's cheapest. I mean, it's what we did with the 2019 World Cup. And then the game round the corner from Tom's, the Afghanistan-West Indies, there were 16 quid, they were flogging them. The same with England v Afghanistan in Manchester, and it ended up being a record-breaking day. It was brilliant. And both of those games were, what, £20 and £16 for a full day of cricket. It didn't rain it either. It was brilliant. Absolutely loved it. Jacob, imagine the scenes of Wickham avoid relegation this season. Stranger things have happened. We saw what happened with Luton and Barnsley last year. It's very unlikely, but there will be stranger things happening at some point. As Dehaney picks it up on the right, all the way back to the keeper. Show some intent, boys. At least the performance has been better at the start here. That's a positive. But really, in behind, the front two haven't had many chances. And that long ball's hopeless. So I'll look away and come back to the chat. Greeny curry sauce is elite. Absolutely. Curry sauce or homemade hot chilli, they're the two. Ravenite steak pie and chips for tea. I've got leftover Chinese. Homemade takeaway. I'm going to the India test too on rescheduled tickets. Oh, are you, Tom? Fair enough. We need to get one of the new grounds this year, I feel. Obviously, if there's a great thing that comes up at Headingley and we're around the corner with you, then we'll go. But I'd like to get to one of Notts or Edgbaston. I think London will be packed again once people can go. So I'd rather do Nottingham or Birmingham. 25 minutes gone. And again, we're starting to find this old problem again. 7 shots and only one of them hits the target. And now Dunfermline will counter. And now we're in trouble as Akinola heads over. We know him oh so well from Dundee, in the head coach. And they're starting to create now. Thomas, the man we're scouting, gets it in. Finley heads away. Dembele flicks on. There's no one pressing. We're second to every ball. It's so frustrating. How does this happen after 5 straight wins? Look at that goal. Look at that goal. Oh, Jake Kane assists it. Hero from the Cliftonville save. But wow. Where does it come from? Just send you a picture of it. I'll send you one for your birthday. A proper pie and chips up north. To be fair, Tom lives up north now. I see plenty of it, but not for me. Funny if it's the same day and game. Yeah, you'll see Tom before me. I have to go in a minute to do the Wrexham lineup. No problem whatsoever. Greeny, did you post an Insta selfie before you went live? Of course I did. You get a mugshot every evening now, mate. Twice a week you get them. It's become tradition. I'll make sure I do it every time. But yeah, I'm gradually getting used to how to use it. I think a couple of people thought I was rude because they replied to me and I didn't answer for about 3 weeks. But I'm getting there now. You know I'm a bit of a grandad. So once I work them out, I'm alright. We've had an hour here. It's been an astonishingly bad performance. I don't understand. It's really starting to baffle me a bit. How quickly it turns. So I'm basically bringing the 3 tired boys from the first team back in. We'll switch Byrne and Duffy over. But how do you go from dominating Celtic to the very next league game, getting battered at air, and then playing a side that are battling for their lives to avoid the relegation playoff, and making it look easy for them? I just don't get it. They've been good value for this. And again, we've suddenly gone from strikers. Shanklin scored 2 against Celtic. And now he's missing the target with every shot again. It really is doing my head in. Crisis is back at Dundee United. Just as I thought at the start of today that third was going to be wrapped up. I think I might need to leave here for my own sanity. Imagine if a team from San Marino made a Champions League group stage. Oh, it'd be brilliant. I really wanted to do the San Marino challenge on camera, but then the team folded. So I will do it one day in the future because I've got fond memories of it. It'll be a nostalgia thing, but it would be amazing. But don't rule out next year with the Europa Conference starting. I know the big countries are moaning about it, but it'll be great for some of those smaller nations. You've seen last year with Cliftonville, today this series with Bangor City, just how much of an impact it can make. Well, even when we spoke to the Linfield chairman on the podcast, they were targeting it as a way to grow their game. So I'm looking forward to it. Oh dear, it was a fan day. The Dunfermline match was a fan day. We had a bumper crowd. Oh, they ain't coming back, are they? I think I'm going to have to leave here for my sanity. Nathan Baxter's getting the criticism, and ironically, we might need Segrist. What I did change, and I'll be honest, is I put them as sweeper keepers. I'm going to have to change it back. I'm in a spot of bother here. I'm going to start applying for jobs. Do you know what? I'm just going to be honest with it. The Dundee United bit, I'm not enjoying it now. It's starting to frustrate me. Motherwell have lost their manager. So we could stay in Scotland and try and build there. We've got Stephen O'Donnell in, a former Luton man. Bath in the National League South is probably slightly below where I'd like to be. Porter down in Northern Ireland, that's a fallen giant. David Platt's there at the minute. Wow. Thank you to everyone coming in as well. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. Solihull Moors might be a good job. I know there's a couple of Dundee United fans in. I can only apologise, but I think you'll agree this is for the best of your club. I know I'll probably get sacked just for applying, but I'm going to go for Solihull Moors. They're 9th in the National League, just off the playoff places. Oh, wow. Oh, the interview process is over. I thought they'd just rejected us on our reputation. I wouldn't rule that out either, to be fair. Dylan, get back to Wigan and sign as a keeper, I beg you. I tried to defend Jamie Jones a bit, and then he made that mistake at the weekend, so I couldn't do that anymore. Andrew, think you might need to change formation. A double Andrew Whitlock, sorry. 4-2-3-1. I have thought about it. I mean, we tried the back three at the start of the season, which didn't work well. And I probably would have done it earlier, to be honest, if Mockery wasn't unhappy and O'Reilly injured. Because they're the two who are natural in the number 10. And it just hasn't worked with them. Yeah, he does it every live video I've noticed. Yeah, we're starting to get the selfies out. Never smile, though. You'll never see a smile. San Marino build a nation next season. It'll be the year after, I think. Every team in the league is amateur, I think, or Gibraltar. Yeah, so it'll be San Marino or... I don't really like Gibraltar because a few others do that anyway. And I feel like it's a bit easier because you can sign some English players with the links. So it'll probably be San Marino or Andorra. Or we'll find a way like that. Carl, we're already playing pretty direct. We haven't got a long throw, but we're playing directly and just trying to hit the front two. It stopped working, so I might have to go the other way. So next season, I've said this before in the streams, I probably won't have a Builder Nation next year because the things I love are either a Builder Nation or a long-term story. I had plans to do a long-term one this year, but it just didn't work out because the club I'd tried to do stuff with, obviously it was impacted by COVID. So all being well, next year will be a non-league to the top, bottom to top playable leagues. The season after, I've planned out that I'd like to do a Builder Nation. And then a season after that, as it stands, so FM24, that's when I'd like to do my most local club, where hopefully I've got enough of a sizable audience to really benefit them. I don't want to do it before I can benefit them hugely. But hopefully, if we keep growing by then, we'll be able to do something nice for a local club then, which would be cool. Because I'm a fan of real football. I've always said it's my selling point. I'm not a storyteller. I'm not dressing up like some of the others. Oh dear. Mockery's requesting a transfer. We're going to reject it. He'll get over it eventually. We want him to stay. We're not going to commit to it though. Elgame, I've beat all the other fan pages for a change with the lineup. There you go. That's what we're like with the manager specials, just trying to get there quickly. Thank you to all the regulars coming in. Scottish Gamers, thank you for popping in too. Good job on the decision in the head coach series. Can you still continue to save after the update? Oh, absolutely. The head coach is always until we reach the very top. It doesn't change the transfer update. The only thing that will be new on the channel after the transfer update is that me and Craig off the podcast, like last year, will start recording a network save. And then once we finish that, we'll release it. I'd imagine it'll be Easter at some point. Tom, can you build a nation for Fiji? I'd like to do something like that. I'd like to do it in like India or somewhere like that. But to be honest, anything outside of Europe, unfortunately, on YouTube, for whatever reason, doesn't really get views. So, as much as I've got to balance the things I'd like to do with things that will actually be worth making. And at the moment, I'm loving these two. You know, and there's plenty in Europe I would love. So, as much as I'd like to do it, and maybe one day, like a lot later down the road, I'd like to do it. But non-Europe, for some reason, even some of the really big creators, they tried it. And they never really got the views when they went to the Americas or to wherever else outside of Europe. Tom Las Malvinas. Jacob, Falkland Islands, build a nation. I'm not doing anything that's got a political tie to it. It's not even worth it, honestly. What's this announcement I missed? What do you mean? I don't think you missed any announcements. Only the manager specials on the podcast. What's your prediction tonight? Another defeat? I've gone for 1-1 because Luton Millwall at home, it's always 1-1. I think Craig and Charlie both went for defeat though. Ravenite, just tell Mockery you'll be gone soon and he won't have to worry about it. Oh dear. Build a nation in Sweden might be fun. I did think about that because we've had a few people on the podcast who have played in Scandinavia. Like even tonight, Michael Newbury. I know he's at Linfield now. But he went over to Iceland and played for 3 years. And I just thought that'd be quite cool. It's just really what the possibilities are. Because a lot of the Scandinavians have good youth players. And that's something that makes it a little bit too easy sometimes. Still want 2.4 million for Brophy. Got a few other scout reports in just in case. I mean, there's not a huge amount out of this recruitment meeting we're going to get. I don't know if we need a goalkeeper. I'm just going to end the meeting because there's not much more we can do. I've really lost... I was so enthusiastic coming into this episode. I really thought we'd solve the problem. We've won 5 straight games and then turned up and put these 2 performances in. It makes me almost speechless, to be brutally honest. But I think we are going to have to change tactic. We've got to find a way of shoring things up a bit. And just starting to dominate games. It'll help the fatigue as well. Greenie, would you start Ince? Tonight? No. I would start Adebayo tonight. Because I think they need to stretch the back 4. So instead of Jordan Clark, because I don't think you're going to win the aerial presence against a side like Millwall, I'd have a front 3 of Collins, Adebayo and Cornick. At the weekend, I'd start Ince. It's a game that we'd be about to start. Dylan, I can assure you of one thing, and it's nothing personal against the guys, because they've done a good job for them. I won't do #United. FM do a special link with them, so they do their own club anyway. And, I mean, I wouldn't compete with the bigger creators. It's not a club that I'd enjoy, because I'm more of an old-fashioned football man. And I'd rather, like #United, fair play to them. They've built themselves brilliantly via social media, but they get a lot of sponsorship, a lot of backing. I mean, no other step 5 or 6 club would have that support of Football Manager, for example. So I'd rather support a club like a local one to me and try and do something to help them, whether it be get them fans that want to come and watch the game, whether it be a few bits of merchandise that people want to buy because they like the club then, you know, something like that. So I'd rather do it with a job like that. That's the only reason. Create a club I have thought about, but I'd have to wait a lot later down the line because I'm not patient enough just yet. I have thought about a mini podcast series where we do all the people we've interviewed as a save, which would be interesting. Scottish Gamers, I say for FM22, do a head coach save in a different region. So the plan for head coach next year is to expand it, the leagues we can start with. I've said it before, the only reason we haven't done it is because I haven't got a good enough PC to load more leagues. So I'll try and mix them up a little next year, and then hopefully by the year after, if not, we might be able to upgrade the PC depending on how the channel's going. But at the moment, unfortunately, we're growing really quickly and things are going really well, but the ad revenue and that, to put it into perspective, it's still like £1.50, £2 a day from the video. So it's not going to pay for a PC, let's put it that way. You were talking about what you were among... Oh, you were going for something. So it's just looking forward to next year. So alongside the head coach, it'll probably be a one club save rather than a build a nation for this time. 3 of my teammates are in FM next year, so I'm going to create a Sunday League team, bring us to the Prem. Once we get to FM22 release, I'll do what I did last year with the beta and just say, let's go live for half an hour and look at players. So you can tell me them and we'll do it on stream. Right, I don't really know what to do here. Do you know what? Instead of worrying about getting 5 games in tonight, let's make a tactic. Faroe Islands isn't a bad shout. Absolutely. I don't know what their league's like. The only one I don't really want to do there is Liechtenstein because they don't get the European places. Who's that team from the Faroe Islands? My problem is I've got to pronounce the names when I do them. You've seen me struggle in Wales. I dread to think the Faroe Islands. Because I've heard of the biggest side there. Faroe Islands football. Let's have a look. Because KI are the ones that are normally in the European groups, aren't they? Let's have a look at what teams are there now. And is it in FM? Because if you have to wait for the databases, that can cause problems as well. But yeah, I'd edge towards Iceland or the Faroes or something like that if we were doing Scandinavia. Gunnar Nielsen already put them firmly on the map. Absolutely right. What a man. Load FM to Wrexham back on again. They're doing well. They don't need me. I wouldn't get the job. Oh, look, the Norway job is going. Is it? Let's have a look. Can't ruin it this early in case we want it. I don't know where I'm going here. Let's go to the job centre. Oh, it's not up now. That's a shame. Let's catch up with the chat quickly and then we'll go for a tactic. You mentioned it in the interview, people. I think I suggested it once. You said you thought about it. Yeah, it's definitely something we'd like to do. But it'd probably be on the podcast channel rather than here. We were hoping that maybe we could start recording it and do it once we reach 1,000 subscribers. Because we're, at the rate we're going, we'll be there in 4 or 5 weeks, which would be amazing. Dior Angus looks very good. There's so many good players in the National League. I wish more clubs recruited from there. I did Sweden, Finland, Norway, and then moved across to Holland. Yeah, that's the sort of thing I'd like from a head coach. I mean, this year's been brilliant because it was really different starting in Scotland because of the way the pandemic worked and when the league started. But I'd love to have a non-UK start next year. So we'll maybe look at that. See, I have thought about doing experiments on the channel because it's something that helps introduce you to new viewers. But I don't want to do the old... What happens if you give Messi to a non-league side? What happens if you give £1 billion to someone? Of course they're going to be good. What do you expect? I'll probably do niche experiments that suit me. I'd like to do something niche with non-league because I know it'd be something that you guys would probably enjoy. I'd enjoy. And if it picks up a few new people that would normally watch experiments, then great. But we'll do that next time we got a week off work, which will be a while yet with the vaccines. Dylan, Brazil would be cool. I always load Brazil and Argentina. Did you catch the Rangers game Thursday? Can't wait for the second leg. I did watch the Rangers game. Absolutely brilliant game of football. I mean, they can really focus on it now, can't they? On rest players for the league. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Have you ever thought of doing a little save with an international team? And so I haven't thought about doing a specific international save. But at the end of the head coach, I've never been against taking on an international side if it coincides with like a World Cup or a Euros or something like that. I mean, we did have a brief stint with Ireland in last year's head coach, but just depends sometimes. But in terms of doing it on its own, I don't know. Maybe we'll do something Euros experiment-wise, but normally I don't want to do the traditional one of let's simulate 10 times and see who wins it. I want to think of something a bit different. But let me know what you'd like to see, I guess, in terms of if we were ever to do an experiment. Pep Guardiola managing Eastbourne. Yeah, but they're the sort of ones you see, aren't they? Like... Oh, I put Paul Pogba in Hungerford's team, and you're surprised they got promoted, you know. And it's nothing against anyone, but You know, it's not good. You're not going to learn anything from it, really. And I don't just want to do them for the sake of gaining 5 people who won't watch another video again. FC Nacional from Brazil on FM. What division are they in, Tom? Because anyone in the top 2 divisions should be. And there'll be a database somewhere with the rest. Right, let's go and make a tactic. I'm going to go for like a real controlling tiki-taka. I tell you what, we've mentioned Pep Guardiola in the chat. Let's bring him here. Let's bring him to Dundee United. So we're going to work around the roles of the players we've got. We're going to get Matheson back in at right back. We're going to get Mengi in at centre half. We've got Mitchell there. McCann will be alongside Mallon. Number 10, it might have to be Byrne today because the others are injured. Could be Mockery, in fairness. What's he like? No. So we'll take Byrne out. And we'll go for a midfield 3 there. Look at that. That's not bad, is it? Duffy, Dembele and Byrne. So wing-backs on support. McCann can be... So they both sort of want to be deep-line playmakers, don't they? I mean, is there any harm in having 2 of them? One on a defend duty and one on a support. Mallon's okay in the tackle. McCann's very good. So do you know what? I don't know which one's better on which side. McCann is no side preference. Mallon, no side preference. So for Stevie Mallon, we'll have a deep line playmaker on support. For McCann, we'll have a deep line playmaker on defend. For Alfie Byrne, we'll have an attacking midfielder on attack. I love that in a number 10. It really works well for me. Dembele will be a winger on support. Duffy will be a inverted winger. I found this year, for some reason, inverted wingers work better than inside forwards. And then Shanklin will be an advanced forward up top. In terms of the style, we'll get the tactical stuff on. Apologies for this. So if this isn't your thing, apologies, it's a bit boring. I did not expect, after 5 wins in a row, to have to be creating a tactic today, to be brutally honest. How about none of the big international clubs or Euros randomised or something? Yeah, maybe. I mean, I was tempted after this year to just do a Scotland in the Euros. Because, I mean, I've managed Scotland almost exclusively until this point. Zeno, I'd love to see the return of the save you did with your mate. Well, you're in good luck. We do it as soon as the January transfer update comes out. So me and Craig, we've just tested it today. We'll be setting up soon. So I can confirm it will be a battle of the hoops from the Championship. So it probably won't make the channel till Easter or that. We don't want to put it out till we've finished it. But you'll see it again later, around Easter or April, May time. Once it's recorded, it'll be out. But there is a network save planned. It's something I was looking to do later on. I've said before, I'll do the tactics while I'm saying it, and then I'll catch up with the chat. I've said later down the line, obviously I've made no hiding of the fact, I'd love to make it part of my job later down the line. I'm not at that stage yet. I don't feel I've earned it yet. But once we get to that stage where I start thinking about perhaps channel memberships and Patreon and all of that stuff, when we're a lot further later down, I'd love to make that one of the things, to do like offer like the top patrons a fantasy draft 2-legged tie against me and do it on the channel with me commentating and talking through my lineup and that. So that's something I'd like to do. But we'll see. There's lots of possibilities that are endless. But they're all a million miles away because the way things are going at work this year with vaccinations and working weekends and that, it's not going to be any time soon that we can commit more time. But if the podcast reach 1,000 and we can start growing that as well, that would be great too. So let's not rule it out. We're going to distribute to the defenders. I think aside from that, I just want to push. Really push quickly. Play out a defence. Work the ball into the box. We'll do mixed crosses because Shanklin's decent in the air. And it sort of solves the problem of Duffy being out of form, doesn't it? We're not going to play a much higher line, but we will play a high one. And we're going to stay on our feet in the tackle. So that, I'm going to put both as ball-playing defenders, is the tactic we're going to go for today. I'm going to bring, and this is remarkable, I'm going to bring Segrist back in goal. Sweeper keeper on defend. I mean, I know it's weird, but that's what I'm going for. What do you think of the new tactic, everyone? And I'll catch up with the chat while you're letting me know. Tom, they're just regional, I think, awful standard. I'll probably not then. L Gaming D, Keats at Manchester City. No. I don't want to do something that's just like one manager or whatever, because City have still got a great side. They'll still do well. So I think it needs to be a bit more than that. I'll try and think of something, but I've never found one that interests me enough. And I don't just want to do them for the sake of it. Give a team from San Marino £1 million and see how they improve. I think someone did already. I remember watching one. Probably Golden FM. He's normally first on the ball. I could maybe do it with the whole league and see how the structure changes. But I would like to do... I mean, San Marino's a country that's given me so much joy in FM. I would like to do something with them. Maybe I'll do a Euros where I chuck them in and see how many goals we concede. One I saw today, Tony Pulis at Madrid. But that's what I mean. I don't know what we'll learn from that if we do that. Because Real Madrid are still world class. Tony Pulis has got decent stats in game. They'll be fine, you know. It takes more than one person to change it. So we've got a tactical experiment of our own in this live stream. So let's test the waters with this one first. If Luton never sold James Justin or Max Aarons, if it was 10 years ago and we could do like bring back all the Luton youth players, it'd be some save. Curtis Davis, Leon Barnett, Matty Taylor, Kelvin Davis in goal. Brilliant. Now I'm just spamming ideas. But that's the thing, there's going to be one in there. Oh yes, in Martin Tyler voice. You said about that to me before. Yeah, there's plenty of things. Yeah, Luton have got a game. They're playing against Millwall. It's on TV. It's on Sky Sports if you've got it. We've told the boys to go and have some fun, apparently. I'm really nervous about this because this experiment could go either way. It's such a different style of play. But, you know, there's no harm in trying, is there? Andrew, take Fort William to the Champions League. It's already been done. Loki Doki did it last year. He's one of the biggest creators. Was it last year or the year before? He raised thousands of pounds for the club. He's doing the same with Basingstoke now. He raised like 50 grand. He was part of the BBC Scotland documentary, if you've seen that. So yeah, he's already done that with Fort William. The football channel, sorry I'm late. No problem. Thank you for popping in. Thank you to everyone coming in as well. If you haven't yet, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Let me know what you think of this experiment that we're going for. It looks good to start with. Although I don't think we can judge that goal from a set piece. It's an own goal, and now there's an injury, so it's all going to be ruined straight away. I'm going to bring Mockery on the left wing. He can play there. It's actually his best position, an inverted winger on support. So we'll see how he gets on. Maybe it'll cheer him up a bit as well. Do an MLS save. That would be interesting. Definitely grab us the US market in. See, I always thought that, but then do you remember Dr. Benji? Was it a couple of years ago? And he made that Central Park one in the US. And it completely nosedived. I really enjoyed it. It was probably my favourite series of his. You know, I didn't really watch him a huge amount before that, but I quite liked it. As Mockery hits the post, but it just, even him, a massive, massive YouTuber, and he got hardly any views for it. It really surprised me. Because you would have thought a lot of people from the US do watch Football Manager content, despite not really loving football or soccer. FYI, McNulty can play the number 10. He's done it in real life. I think he's accomplished, isn't he? As Shanklin certainly prefers to be up front on his own by the looks of it. I mean, McNulty's just horrifically out of form at the moment. He's got a heavy match load, so I'll give him a couple of games off and then we'll consider him. Carl, long throws at Real Madrid. But if they didn't do that in the experiment, it doesn't work. L Gaming, what if Luton were in the Scottish Premier? I mean, we've basically found that out here, haven't I? I signed half the team the first season when Luton gave them to us. We had Pearson, we had Ray, we had one other as well. Moncur went to a Scottish club. So yeah, I don't know if we'll learn too much from that one. But this, I've got to say, Andrew Whitlock, if you're still here, I mean, I'd briefly thought about it, but you can have the credit. You mentioned it in the chats, 4-2-3-1. And as long as we don't throw this away and it returns us to form, it could be a very good tactical change for us. I guess at home we'll see how it works. But even so, if this solves our problems on the road and then at home we can play 4-4-2 and really take it to teams, you never know. As Mitchell gets down the left into the box. Oh, lovely stuff. We're on fire. You might have just made me fall in love with this again. Zeno, have they added who assisted the goal in the new update? Yeah, in a little bit underneath the scorer. It's a brilliant addition. Love little things like that. Jacob, send Luton to the Southern Combination Premier, 9th tier. Yeah, we could do. I have thought about a 9th tier save because my most local team, Crawley Green, they play out of Luton's training ground at the minute, but they're in the 9th tier. They play in the fifth tier of non-league, basically the same level. So there's someone I'm looking to manage in the future on here. Ravenite's been sarcastic and Cino's, yeah, said the same. Everyone puts Rangers and Celtic in the Prem. I've seen that so many times. And what do you learn other than two massive clubs become massive given time? Dembele in. First goal of the club. Back from injury and fine in form. Almost like a new signing. So maybe we could look and go out and get a good number 10 now. Mockery off that left might be a solution. If he plays better than his mood, then we could be in galore there. The problem is Jack Byrne's on his way out, isn't he? For big money. So if we can get a big number 10 in, I think we'll be happy. As it is, he's absolutely knackered. But because he's going, we're not going to do anything. We'll take Malin off. And actually, Glenn Ray suits his tactic better as well. Because he can play a sort of a defensive centre mid. And he doesn't need that commitment of going forward. We don't need it. I still want to take Dembele off because he's still a little injury prone after injury. He's a bit fragile. So he'll play on the right. We'll go for Darren Watson. McNulty is, I think, competent as a number 10. Yeah, so he'll be all right. For now, though, we'll leave it 5 more. I'll probably go to Haney for Matheson just to develop our own players. Because we've got to throw at left back again. Thank you for everyone coming in and making the chat so active as well. I do appreciate your support this evening. Does Sorensen use his long throw at Brentford? I don't know. I'm interested to see Luton in game because Harry Cornick started using a long throw. I haven't looked at Luton since the January update to see if he's got a developed stat for it. But I've been doing it for 2 months, so if anyone's watching them, they should know. Oh yeah, Ravenite Zeno. I think the sarcasm was there from both of you. Carl, thank you for popping in as well. I don't know if I said hello to you when you first chatted. Elgarin, I started another Ashes save and forgot I accidentally downloaded the updated English data, the updated database, which made England bad and Australia good. It's something I'd like to... I mean, it's the biggest fear I have later this year is that the Ashes cricket game and the Football Manager comes out at the same time. Because I'd love to do both. The Ashes cricket, I had about 400 subscribers when I made that series. And they were getting 2,000 or 3,000 views an episode. And I love the cricket games. It's my guilty pleasure. And I know the Scottish guys amongst you might not watch it, but there'll still be daily FM content. So I'll keep you all happy if I can. As McCann fires over, it's been a good day at the office for us. Crawley down Gatwick, yeah. No, not Crawley down Gatwick. Crawley Green. They're in Luton. Sorry, I only just got what you meant. Crawley Green are based in Luton. What if the Big Six move to the Scottish Prem? I think they'd just dominate it. I don't think... Again, if it's something I can predict the outcome to, I guess that's my threshold for an experiment. When I see the title to most experiments, let's be honest, most of them are clickbait. Like, oh, we've put Manchester United in the National League South. We've given this team £1 billion. Because you know they're things that are searched for. If it's an experiment I can predict the answer to, I probably won't do it. So that's my sort of threshold for it. So I'm looking for something that I think, so like the same, if I gave all the San Marino team £1 billion or $1 million, I wouldn't give them a billion. I'd do something like realistic. Like, give them 5 million and see how many turn professional. Those sorts of things. Because you're still going to have the low reputation. So I'd be interested in that sort of thing. Something I can't 100% gather the answer to. And something a bit more niche. You know, I don't want something that involves Manchester United, Liverpool, Barcelona, Real Madrid. You know, all the ones that are usually in there. Because the reason those are the ones, as Duffy's out for a month, is because they're the ones that people will click on. They're the ones that the casual viewer will click on. And yes, it gets you loads of subscribers, but they never then watch another video. And you just end up with the same audience I've got, but with 10,000 subscribers, and it looks weird. So, you know, for me, it's never been about being the biggest in the world. Raven, I can always watch the cricket episodes if I have trouble sleeping. Oh dear, I don't blame you. I know the Scots aren't cricket fans generally. You don't get my beautiful face either on the console games. Oh, but by the time that game comes out, I'll probably be all grey anyway. Sorensen has 19 in long throws and has the flat bullets. So deadly in Norway as well as Holland as well. Oh, fair enough. Didn't you say you'd have a little game with me on the New Ashes game or something? Yeah, absolutely. As long as we can find time for it. Obviously, all of these things, I can never do them when the game immediately releases because that's basically go time. I book 2 weeks off work for the beta and just slog it out. But like once we get to the summer, and the same will happen next summer after the new games, is when it quietens down a bit, you know? So I never have a problem. It's been nice to give little bits like that back. Let's have a look at the chat. Jacob, you could send Manchester United to the 7th tier and see how congested the fixture list gets with all the regional ones. That's the thing though, I don't know if it's just me, I'm sort of against doing it with big English clubs because it seems to be in almost every experiment is either the old firm, the big English clubs, or European giants. And that's the thing that I guess winds me a little bit. So I would like to do something with either smaller nations or teams. I will definitely do something Euros based. I think Scotland based on what's happened here. Because we've ended up, so much of the channel's become Scottish this year. But obviously, because this is start of the season save, you've got to get them there first. So there's plenty of food for thought anyway. Now what we've got to do, I mean, who have we got up next? Is it Rangers or Hibs next? It's Hibs next. So if we don't get the Rangers game in, then we don't. We'll do transfer deadline day in the next one. But what I want to see in this home game is whether the tactical change works both home and away. I mean, the Burn one, I don't know if we can let him go till deadline day. I guess we can go and have a look, can't we? If we try and get a number 10 in, none on a free agent, a few on the loan list, so we can have a look at the Arsenal youngster, and a few on the transfer list. And then if we do the same for the wingers, because now we're looking higher up the pitch. So we're getting a few more loan ones. Dylan McCanday's there. Another one from Cliftonville last year. We've got to find an option that's going to be able to help us. There can't be nobody that we can afford. I tell you what, that's one of my feature things I'd love to see in FM. You know when you come here, they just suggest the 3 best players in a position you're asking for. I'd like to say, can you find me some average, backup, cheap right wingers, director of football? Put San Marino in a group with England, Germany and Spain. But again, you'd know the outcome, wouldn't you? You know they're going to get battered. I want to do something where it's a little bit unpredictable. Game, you'd beat me easily probably if I play like I did in the Ashes game today. I play on the hardest difficulty. So the only thing I keep on when I'm batting is the ball tracker on the floor. I can't do it without it. And I can't play on like as if you were the batsman camera mode. I have to play like from the bowling end. But apart from that, I try to do it as hard as possible. Do you think Arsenal or Chelsea have the better youngsters coming through? I think the Arsenal ones have better potential. But the Chelsea ones are more developed because they're a couple of years later. Like Mount's in his early 20s. James, the same's getting to 20 now. So, but then the Arsenal one, they've got loads of quality teenagers. But you never know who's going to make it. It's too early to tell for a lot of them. Right, let's get them back in order. So Amari Hutchinson looks a good potential loan player. How much do they want wages-wise? All of it. We can't be paying £7,000 a week. Ben Woodburn is loan listed. Stoke are going to want all the money and we aren't going to be paying it. They want £7,000, but we can't afford that. Abdul Malik, can't afford that. George Byers is on massive wages, but he's Scottish. Dobra looks a good player. Roddy Mcgregor. Oh, why hasn't he popped up before? He could be a good squad player. He's only worth £10,000. He's on £750 a week. That could be a real good find from Ashgar. I'm quite impressed with that one. Dylan McCanday's on big wages now. Kai Corbett, not great. Tyler Wolf, not good. Oh, brighter say Samuel, I wish. £29,000 a week, £7 million, no chance. Ginelly's a good player. He's transfer listed for under £1 million. But I don't know that he's good enough to spend that amount on. Tulloch. Quick youngster. We could potentially bring him in on loan. I think we'll just scout a lot. Rio Campbell's the other one on not much money, but he's not great. So we'll do a big scout report for the whole lot of them. But I really like the look of that Roddy Mcgregor. If we can get him in on the cheap. In fact, what we will do is we'll make an inquiry and see what they say. Because that could be a real big signing for us. Thank you to everyone popping in as well. Same, I have the ball tracker on, but I use the batsman camera angle. Oh, it makes me feel sick. It makes me dizzy. I can't do it. It's not so much the batting that's hard. It's when you're running. Oh, I find it really weird. Dylan, imagine if you put the top 8 teams in Scotland in each group of the Champions League and see which one does best. But you know it's probably going to be one of the old firms, don't you? I mean, it's something that would be interesting for the other 6. Because I know a lot of people, like, they flip the pyramids and things like that, don't they? But again, I don't know how much value you're going to get out of that. It all narrows out quickly, as we've seen with Rangers in real life. We'll come up with something, though. Amari Hutchinson. Anyone remember the video he did with the F2 about 6 years ago? I don't remember any of that, to be honest. None of the big teams in the Champions League? Potentially. The problem is you can't stop them qualifying from year 2, would you? Then you'd have the Europa League. I guess you could take all the European teams out, but there's going to be enough surprises this year anyway. Here's one. Create the first World Cup where a lot of the big teams refuse to participate. Well, I guess that's sort of the idea of the Nations League, isn't it? It's something I would have quite liked to have done. But the Nations League, like pots C and D, you're basically getting the best of the rest, which is annoying because it's something I would have liked to have done, as I said, but one of those frustrations. That's the thing, isn't it? There's so many of them. I will do something Euros based, though. I can assure you of that first. We'd love to see the European coefficient reverse, so Northern Irish League would be 4th rather than 4th button, etc. Champions of the Premier qualifying round to Europe. The problem is, I have no idea how to do that in the database. Absolutely no clue. Because it would require changing all of the numbers and all of that. And that's the thing, I've got to also balance in then. Something like that would take hours and hours of database time, and with full-time work, it just isn't possible, unfortunately. Right, they've rejected the offer for Roddy Mcgregor. They don't want to sell him. Should we just make an offer and see what happens? The worst they're going to do is say no. Oh, wow. They want 725 grand. Come on. I thought we'd finally struck lucky there. Chris Mockery's trying to get his move. Of course he is. But we're not letting him go. Thank you to everyone coming in as well. Thank you for the active chat. I know we're having... It's about the first time we've had a chat about FM rather than just football and food and everything else, isn't it? It is lovely to talk about the things that you guys like from FM as well. Because it's something that we don't really get to do very often. Because it always gets dominated by the football chat. So it's nice to have something a bit different. So we've got to see how this new tactic does at home. Despite the heavy workload for most of them. We're going to bring Mockery in for the injured Duffy. We're going to bring... I mean, we're running out of squad players now, aren't we? O'Reilly will go on the bench. McNulty's got a knock, so Finn Malcolm on for him. What else can we do first 11-wise? I'm not going to swap Finley and Kirkstay. I'll do that against Rangers. I think we'll keep the rest as it is. It's been good performances otherwise. So that's the squad we're going to go for. Let's go and get into it. It will probably be the final game of the evening. Just so you can go about your evening and watch your football from 7 o'clock. And then we'll do transfer deadline day and Rangers next time out. If I'm not in a strop after watching this one. So there we go. Straight on where we left off. And into the first half we go. Let's have a look at the chat. Imagine Barcelona v Man City in a preliminary qualifying round in Gibraltar. Here's one. I guess the only interest of that then is whether... what happens with the other nations later on. I guess the reason no one's done it is because it's very hard to create. But then do players start going to the other nations because they're in the Champions League? You never know. When you rise up the leagues, the reputation doesn't increase enough. I had a 2-star reputation in the Premier League with Eastbourne. Yeah, it's something I always found before. But then I guess, would it really increase that much? You look at teams that have risen through like to League 1 or League 2. Has their reputation increased that much? I don't know, it has. So maybe it is correct. Oh, wow, we've got a penalty. Silly tackle from Harvey. Shanklin will take it. And hopefully we can get an early lead here. It's very hard to judge because the two sides we've played have been awful. Here is Shanklin. Steps up right-footed into the corner. Lovely stuff. Shanklin likes being a lone striker. Live watch-alongers on the podcast, maybe. Already planned our gaming. As soon as the government announcement came yesterday, we were looking through the fixtures and which ones we'd like to gather for and do a live watch-along. The one thing we've said is we don't want to do like England games or Scotland games or emotionally charged ones because we love the competition and the best games are often the niche ones, as we've conceded again already. Like, I always remember in the 2014 World Cup watching like Bosnia v Nigeria and thinking this is great. So we'd love to do ones like that because there's a couple of like early evening games in the first few days of the tournament where it's like a Austria v Macedonia, for example. I'd love to just do a live stream of that and just talk nonsense for an hour. Because when we used to gather at Charlie's house for the podcast, we'd play Pro Evolution Soccer. We'd watch whatever like Northern Irish or Scottish game was on TV Friday night. We'd have a big bowl of chocolate in the middle of the table. Half the time we'd order a takeaway as well. It was just like a proper laid back atmosphere. And we'd more than happily chuck a camera in the corner of the room and share that with you. As Elliot Anderson scored a screamer. Andrew, if you're still here, the tactic's gone a bit too soon. It worked for a game and 4 minutes. Let's demand a bit more from them, see if we get a reaction. We are running out of players and fitness too, though. Jacob, true, but when you have a lower reputation and a League Two team, you say that. Bournemouth were in the Premier League, probably with a lower reputation than Sunderland in real life. So, you know, and now Wickham are in the Championship. Have they got a bigger reputation than Bolton in League Two? I don't know. So putting it out there, I guess there is some realism to it. I think the problem in FM, because we rise so quickly, which you wouldn't in real life, you wouldn't get to the Premier League in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, is that's the bit that's unrealistic. If that took 15 years, your reputation would gradually increase. But because we don't have those 3 years to establish in League One, to establish in the Championship, I think that's the bit that probably makes it unrealistic. But if they had that properly realistic, people wouldn't play the game. So that's why. Dembele gets himself in, puts it just wide via the save. It's been an okay performance, this. I mean, we conceded a screamer. We can't really judge too much on it. But is the new tactic working? I don't know. I think it's probably too early to tell still. Thank you to everyone popping in as well. Lovely to see so many of you here this evening. Kamashin, greetings from beautiful Croatia. Thank you for popping in. Lovely to see one of the regulars again. In terms of knowledge, yes, but as a player, I'd rather play for Wickham than Bolton. You say that? I don't know. It's hard to tell, because there's geography to put into it as well. Like the amount of players we spoke to on the podcast, you don't realise how important geography is in a move. So I guess it's a hard one to balance. And to be fair, for Sports Interactive, they're never going to be able to get it right and please everyone. So I get why it's a difficult thing, and I can understand all sides of the argument, to be honest. Well, it looks like our last game of the evening, after the euphoria of the last game, is back to trouble. And if it becomes 3 defeats in 4, and we start sliding down that table again, are we going to have a chance of getting a sack, maybe? It's getting a bit late in the season to say we're still on course, isn't it? Matheson's got a throw on the right. We need a quick equaliser here. McCann puts it in. Mockery's there. Oh, good save. Shanklin's offside, is he? No. Who was playing him onside? Didn't look like anyone. But Shanklin gets the goal. We're happy enough with that. And 2-2 with 35 left. We're starting to look promising again. And as it stands, we're back up to 4th. It's such a bizarre season. It's so tight in that midfield. As Harvey gets it on the left. Crosses into Finley, who heads away. Murray gets there first, though. And they keep having shots from long range. And a few of them are going in tonight, which is trouble for us. This time they get wide, though. Nicholson on the edge of the box. Time on the ball, cuts it inside to Murray. It's good football, and we're going to have to watch out because Nisbet's trying to get in. But Dembele's on the counter from the Matheson header. We need the goal. Shanklin's in. Good block, but Burns there. Wonderful last-ditch challenge. Burnley gets there again. Dembele on the right-hand side. Into the byline. Crosses it in. Shanklin hits the post. Oh, my. What a moment. Kamashin Simon Sluga set to sign Dundee United. I wish. What a goalkeeper. He kept it at 3 at the weekend. It should have been 5 or 6. Wages is another factor, absolutely. There's so many things that we don't think about. It's really surprised me. It's one of the biggest things from the interviews is just how many people are motivated by things outside of football and money, where it's geography, whether it's people you've worked with before being a big one as well, and just being loved a lot of the time for some people. Thank you to everyone popping in as well. A very quick plug, I haven't done many this evening. Please do check out some of the manager specials on the podcast channel. And if you haven't watched today's head coach yet, you'll already know by the little crest in the thumbnail that it's a very big one. It's a decisive one. So please do go and check it out. We've got a big decision to make. I won't spoil it in the chat here, and please don't if you're watching along. But make sure you go and check it out, because I'm really, really enjoying that series. The Bangor one's great too. There's some shocks to come in the next few of that one. But please do give them a try, because the numbers have been wonderful this year, and I'm really enjoying it. Matt O'Reilly's going to make his comeback in the number 10 role. Mockery's unhappiness is catching up with him. So we're going to bring on Watson. Then Ballet will switch to the left as an inverted winger. And Watson will play off the right. We're going to go attack him. We've got 10 minutes to get a winner. And if we can sneak a victory here, the race for third is back on ahead of Sunday's episode. Saturday, sorry. It's the other thing I mentioned a lot on Sunday. I haven't yet today. From this week, we will be doing our live stream, our weekend one, on Saturday morning instead of Sunday morning. So Saturday at 10:30 a.m, just because I'm working most Sundays at the minute. So Saturday 10:30, and then the Tuesday one stays at 5:30 as it is today. And we're in 3 minutes of stoppage time as Watson breaks away. This would be the perfect moment to steal it. Watson to the byline, beats in the challenge. And it's going to end in a draw. Hibs have been the entertainers of this save, haven't they? Relegation, promotion, and now they're fighting up for Europe. As Matheson's got a throw. Why is he time wasting? Get the ball in. Watson flicks on. Headed away. It could have been the moment. But as it is, it remains 2-2 and a disappointing draw. But unbeaten with a new tactic is something to build on at least. And hopefully on Saturday morning we'll be able to do just that. Let's go and see where it leaves us in the table quickly. And hopefully we'll have some transfer surprises for deadline day. Hopefully Mockery won't force his way out and he'll end his unhappiness if we get back in form. We've got European football to return soon as well, don't forget. Thank you to everyone for your support. If you haven't yet, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. It's been lovely having such an active chat. It's my favourite part of the live streams. It's the main reason we do it is to have a chat with you guys. So thank you for your support. A quick shout out to Josh again. I know he hasn't quite caught up yet. But just for last week for the first donation, it does make such a difference. Hibs have got 30k from the Malin deal. Who's that spotted at Tannadice Park? Arsenal boss Thierry Henry. Oh wow, he's Arsenal manager now. So we're fourth in the league. But we're 6 points behind with a game more played. It doesn't look great. I mean, Motherwell are up there with Rangers. Now, there is a little bit of a concern here. The Europa Conference, has it been drawn? It has, because we were worried about that last time. Hamilton have got Astana. Do we know who we've got yet? Oh, it doesn't get drawn till after. I thought it might be one where it's drawn and you've got the winners off. But looking at that, I mean, Hamilton Astana is probably one of the friendliest ones there. So it'll be interesting to see who we get out of that. We will be back on transfer deadline day. We'll, of course, have the Rangers fixture, which is a little bit of a pain getting in the way. L Gaming, great stream in the way. And thanks for the shout out on the other video I did the other month. Not a problem. Thank you for all your support. I do appreciate it from all of you guys. It does make such a difference. Let's have a quick look at the other fixtures we've got. So next time, Saturday morning, 10:30. Rangers at home, Inverness away in the Cup. Then Motherwell, St Mirren and St Johnstone. And then we should have European football for the one afterwards. Could be a big finish to the season just yet. But we'll be back on Saturday morning. Make sure you set your alarms. I'll send reminders on all the social medias as well. Please do check out today's head coach if you haven't already. A massive thank you for all of your support. And I hope you enjoy this evening's football across the real world. And hopefully your team gets a win. BTW, by the way, that's one of the few acronyms I do know, Gaming. That's one of the few ones oldies like us do know. But a massive thank you everyone for watching. And I'll see you on Saturday. Thanks for the support.